Hello, and welcome to the Ripple Effect. Today's topic is self love, which has become such, I don't want to say necessarily redundant, but something in society that people are talking about. But I believe people may have either taken it to the extreme or not really understanding what self love is about. What does self love look like in your life? If self love means that you are neglecting your children, then that is to the extreme. But if self love is reflected in your life as being a doormat and letting people walk all over you and take advantage of you, that is also to the extreme. It must be something to me that I found within the pages of the Holy Bible to understand how I am to love myself. Because if I cannot love myself, how can I be capable of loving another human being? For me, as for self-love, I call it, like I tell my son, I have diva days. And diva day is when I am out pampering Selena. If I'm going to get my nails done, if I'm going to go shopping or something, and by the grace of God, I will be very honest and transparent. When I was struggling as a single mother, I still found time to have self-love. And it was very, very hard in the beginning. But I would tell my son, you know what, mommy needs 5 minutes to herself. I need just a little time to get myself together. And that could be if it's just in the bathroom having quiet time praying, or if it's in my room just taking time to myself, or as some single mothers know, or any mother that's out there, sometimes the children, they get on your nerves just a little bit. Shh, don't tell them. But sometimes you be stressed. And I know for me, I was very stressed as a single mother. I was working and I was going to school, and the whole household was resting upon my shoulders. And so that was a lot for me to take in and process. And I needed to figure out how I was going to love myself. I needed that. Because if you don't love yourself, you will operate out of a place that will place you in I'll say in a position where people, one, for one, can take advantage of you. And for two, where you would just lead yourself down a road where you don't even recognize yourself. So for me, what I was going to say, like as a level of transparency, I would even take, if I didn't have much money, which was pretty much a lot of the time as a single mother, I would just go, like I told you, in the South, they have this store called the Dollar Tree. Everything in there is $1, excluding the tax that's down here, but everything's $1. And so I would go in that store, and if I had $3 in my discretionary fund, I would just go in there and buy something just for me, whatever that would have been. I love socks, so any kind of socks that, for me, if it got like a little decoration on them, I would just go in there and buy myself a little pair of socks. Or if they had, I don't know, something that was just for me, even if it was at the time, if I find a nail polish color in there, because at the time it was very hard to stretch my funds to get them professionally done as I do now. So if it was something in there that it was just simply just a nail polish cover or color, or something that was specifically just for me. If it was a candy bar that I liked, because I love Kit Kats. That is my go-to candy bar. It is awesome because I like simplistics. I don't need everything nougats, caramel, raisin. I don't like all of that get together. Give me a little wafer, a little chocolate, I'm good to go. So if it was even going there to get that, that was my reflection of self-love just for me, because I had to do something that was just for Selena, that I could say, you know what, if at this time, if I'm not feeling love from anyone else, that I could be able to love myself. But I also had to remember that I was getting love from God first, not seeking it from someone else. And I feel a lot of women in society fail there because they do not love themselves. They're out there looking for someone else to love them, another man to come into their life, say since they have been rejected from the first relationship they have been in. Well, not necessarily the first initial, but a relationship that they have been in, they have been rejected. And so they're seeking love from another person. They want another man to be in their life and give them love, so much so that they neglect their children. And that is the first responsibility that you have outside of yourself. I knew for me, self-love meant I could be a better mother when I loved myself. If I was neglecting my mental health, if I was neglecting how I cared for myself, I could not be a good mother. And so for that, I realized that once I took time, one, of course, which I always advocate for, being in your prayer closet. And once I was in there operating and figuring out who God was, how God loved, because that's who He is. He is love. And I had to figure out, okay, this is how God operates out of love. Love, for one, understand this, is sacrificial. Sacrificial. For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son. And when I think about that as a parent, to love someone so much that you will watch your child die, that is such sacrificial. Because for me, you look at my son the other way, I might be tempted to do a jail sentence. So I can't imagine the things that Jesus Christ had to go through for us, because that love was sacrificial. And sometimes for yourself, it will take sacrifice. So for me, when I was loving myself, that self-love, I would take any extra money that I had and I would place it aside. So if I couldn't have that immediate gratification, I knew, okay, once a month I'm doing this particular thing for myself, and I was saving up money. And then eventually through the years, I was able to save up to go, if it was going to my favorite restaurant, if it was going to the movies, if it was going to the mall, if it was getting a new purse, a new bag, a new pair of shoes, I was able to expand the self-love that I have for myself. And don't misconstrue what I'm saying. I'm not saying that it's all materialistic, because sometimes I would just take time to go in nature. Because for me, and in the Bible, it said, like, in the nature, that's where you find who God is. Because the things that are in the world that we see, the colors, the vibrancy, it has a rhythm to it, that where we can see the love of God in it. So I would go out in nature to be close to Jesus creatures, as I call them, and just be able to bask in the peace and the serenity of it all. So I would take that time to love myself as well. And for you ladies, I encourage you to find what you have in your life that will encourage you to reflect self-love. Like for me, it's very much being pampered. That is my definition of self-love. Why? Because I have always had to be the provider. I've always had to provide. I've always had to work, or in the new term, operate in my masculine. I've always had to do that. So pampering myself is very much a luxury of self-love. So whatever it may be for you ladies, I'm not sure what that may be, if it's cooking your favorite meal, or if it's watching your favorite show, or if it's, even if it's, I don't necessarily, if it's hanging out with your friends, that can be it too. If it's hanging out with particular family members, if that's your definition of self-love, whatever it is for you, as long as it's not to the detriment of someone else, that is not self-love. So as always, ladies, don't forget to subscribe and join the OAC Nation. And thank you so much for watching.